For months, music icon Sean Diddy Combs has been juggling one crushing legal challenge after another. In the latest twist, a federal court delivered a surprising verdict on a civil lawsuit launched by his former producer, Rodney Little Rod Jones, dismissing several explosive claims, yet leaving others in place. Is this a major victory for Diddy or just a prelude to bigger legal battles ahead? And what does it mean for his looming criminal case on similarly troubling allegations? Let's delve into the judge's decision and the ripple effects it could have on Diddy's future.
In a bombshell lawsuit, Cassie alleges the Bad Boy Records music mogul physically abused her throughout their 10-year relationship, which began when she was 19 years old and he was 37.
In a dramatic shift from his status as a dominant force in the hip-hop, business, and entertainment spheres throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Sean Diddy Combs finds himself ensnared in a web of serious allegations.
The plaintiff, Rodney Little Rod Jones, produced tracks for Diddy but insists that things took a dark turn behind the scenes. He accuses Diddy of far more than missed payments, alleging a toxic environment riddled with intimidation, indecent proposals, and even forced acts of a sexual nature. Jones also implicates others in Diddy's circle, including actor Cuba Gooding Jr., claiming a pattern of misconduct and manipulation. The complaint brims with shocking accusations that Diddy exposed him to traumatic experiences, brandished firearms, and dangled the promise of stardom if Jones complied with taboo demands. Diddy flatly denies these claims, describing them as unsubstantiated and contradictory. He responded by asking the court to dismiss everything, asserting that the suit lacked specific evidence to support such grave charges. From the outset, Diddy's legal team went on the offensive. They attacked the pillars of Jones's claims, especially on racketeering, RICO, and human trafficking. According to Diddy's lawyers, Jones's complaint failed to pin down any clear predicate crimes, the fundamental building blocks for a valid RICO case. They argued that spouting rumors of a criminal enterprise doesn't cut it unless you prove a direct link between criminal acts and the alleged harm. Furthermore, Diddy's team asserted that the supposed verbal contract to pay Jones for production work was nothing more than a casual conversation, lacking the formalities required to be legally binding. As for the damning allegations of forced sexual interactions, the defense insisted that Jones provided no concrete details, no dates, no explicit context to substantiate the high-stakes claims of trafficking or assault.
Sean Diddy Combs was accused in a lawsuit Thursday of subjecting R&B singer Cassie to a years-long relationship that included beatings and rape. Cassie, whose legal name is Cassandra Ventura, alleged in the suit that Combs brought her into his fast-paced and drug-fueled lifestyle not long after she met him and signed to his label when she was 19 and he was 37 in 2005. Combs' attorney denied the allegations. Ventura said that after years in silence and darkness, she is ready to tell her story.
But Jones had answers, fierce ones. He insisted the federal indictment against Diddy, which made headlines nationwide, and the array of other misconduct suits offered a broader backdrop that bolstered his claims. Through his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, Jones maintained that references to weapons, intimidation, and repeated unwanted contact were more than vague rumors. He said these details emerged from the very environment in which Diddy allegedly coerced him. Jones specifically accused Diddy of grooming him with promises of music industry success and overshadowing him with threats if he resisted. In his view, the intimidation was loud and clear: surrender or face retaliation. And while the contract was never written, Jones claimed Diddy's repeated assurances about a big Grammy push and financial rewards crossed the threshold from casual talk to an enforceable understanding. Federal Judge Paul O. Etkin took a closer look and delivered a 31-page opinion. The headline: Diddy scored a partial victory. The court threw out several core claims, namely the RICO racketeering count, emotional distress allegations, and breach of contract claims, citing a lack of tangible proof and major legal gaps. In other words, proclaiming Diddy ran a criminal enterprise was one thing. Tying that enterprise to Jones's alleged losses was another, but it wasn't a total knockout blow for Diddy. The court allowed Jones's contentions of sex trafficking and assault to stand, meaning the alleged scenario in which Diddy and his staff orchestrated forced or coerced sexual acts remains on the table. Similarly, premises liability charging that Diddy knowingly allowed misconduct at his properties also survived. According to the judge, these accusations were specific enough to merit deeper examination. Before dissecting the potential impact on Diddy, it's worth noting that Jones's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, got a stern talking to from the judge. The court felt his filings contained inaccurate statements of law and bizarre references, like suggesting that Diddy was presumed guilty merely because of a federal indictment. While this stinging rebuke didn't tank Jones's claims outright, it signaled that the court won't tolerate messy legal theatrics in the future. And in the big picture, that's crucial. The judge's pointed tone underscores how quickly a cause can unravel when the arguments are sloppy, even if some allegations have enough substance to keep going.
The self-proclaimed bad boy for life, Sean Combs, is facing a series of new allegations of rape, sexual abuse, and sexual assault tonight. At least 6 people filed civil lawsuits against him in federal court in New York today. I think the biggest headline from here is that one of these alleged victims was a minor. That's serious.
Very serious, and I agree with you, Elizabeth. Obviously, it changes the game. This is just a civil lawsuit, but if that works its way into the federal criminal indictment, if there is indeed a superseding indictment, that changes the game in 2 ways. One, of course, is mandatory minimum and very serious sentences for sex trafficking of minors. But importantly, it really gets around one of Combs's defense. That is that the sexual contact happened, but it was consensual between adults because, of course, minors cannot consent.
So, what does this partial dismissal mean for the bigger criminal fight still looming over Diddy's head? Observers point to the court's dismissal of racketeering claims as a potential clue. If a civil judge thinks the criminal enterprise argument was too tenuous to survive, might a jury in a criminal trial feel similarly? After all, the standard of proof is higher on the criminal side. But on the flip side, the judge also let sex trafficking and assault claims precede both major accusations in the criminal case. So if Jones is indeed the producer one, that Diddy's indictment references a rumor swirling in legal circles. His version of events could still rattle the defense at trial. The judge's partial acceptance of those details gives them a certain judicial weight. Moreover, if more alleged victims with parallel stories emerge, Diddy's legal woes could multiply fast. Because the sex trafficking and assault angles remain alive, the next steps for both sides likely involve evidence discovery, digging into records, text messages, and depositions. We could see more disturbing allegations and even new witnesses. Potential bombs might drop if hidden emails or unsealed transcripts reveal the behind-the-scenes dynamic of Diddy's empire. As the premises liability claim stands, Diddy also faces accusations that he knowingly put Jones in situations ripe for harm, be it on his yacht with certain guests or in private studios. If those charges prove out, it would establish a pattern suggesting Diddy turned a blind eye to repeated, potentially criminal acts. Such a narrative would not help him in the court of public opinion or in a criminal case either. In short, Sean Diddy Combs got a reprieve from the most sweeping parts of Rodney Jones's lawsuit, those that painted him as a full-blown crime boss orchestrating a widespread enterprise. Yet he's far from unscathed. Claims of forced sex acts, intimidation, and misconduct at his properties remain a real threat. Ultimately, the success or failure of these claims could echo well beyond the confines of this one lawsuit, especially with a criminal trial still on the horizon. Is the partial dismissal a sign that Diddy's legal burden is lifting? Or will the surviving claims prove even more damaging than the ones dismissed? Let us know your thoughts, because as the next round of evidence surfaces, this might be just the calm before a much larger storm. For now, Rodney Jones's serious allegations of sex trafficking live on, reinforcing the notion that Diddy's legal battles are far from over.